Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News, and wherever North America goes, drama most certainly does follow. In a dramatic match last night between OpTic Gaming and XSET, OpTic came out on top in a crazy affair, but certainly the tech pauses were one of the key talking points of the final map of the series. XSET believes they were using this deliberately to effectively ice XSET's momentum, but there were some spicy responses from the OpTic guys. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Let's just crack straight on with things really, because no drama to talk about before the matches, it came after the matches. First game, Loud versus dapr. I said yesterday to you guys, I'm kind of sad about it really. They're like, okay, dapr, surely this is the time that they come good. Like, yeah, I guess just pure copium at this point, because dapr, you know, they love getting top 6, and I thought yesterday, especially when they went up 9-3 at the half, that they were going to close out this game 1, especially with their attacking side of Breeze. You'd imagine that would have been a great side, of course. Turns out though, no, 9-3 becomes 13-11 in favor of Loud. Loud win game 1, and at that point the momentum is fully in their favor and they win the game 2 as well. So I mean, yeah, it's kind of clockwork for dapr, unfortunately, that they look so good for so long in the tournament. They're looking like a team that could certainly win the entire thing. They still can, of course, but like, I mean, yeah, and in fairness, you've got to give credit to Loud, because yes, I think dapr, they collapsed a little bit mentally in this one, as we've seen from them before, but Loud were on the whole the better team, and certainly game 2 they proved it right. But I mean, yeah, 9-3 to 13-11, not pretty at all. dapr kind of, well, had an unfortunate turn of events. RB tried to make things happen back here on the Haven to bring them back into the game to some degree, but it wasn't to be at the end of the day. Loud 2-0 dapr, they move on to, well, the inevitable match of the tournament, OpTic versus Loud. It's happening again, and I mean, yeah, 2-0. This really, the game 1 was the dagger, to be honest. I mean, look, 9-3 at the half, all these offensive rounds in a row, dapr looking so good, and then they get clapped back straight away. 6 defeats in a row on the defensive side for dapr, 13-11, and then Haven after that was not particularly close, and dapr could, well, really struggle to muster anything in this game. It was very quickly 8-1, and Loud were definitely not going to rescind that advantage. Yeah, tough for dapr again. I do think Loud was the better team on the whole, but I mean, yeah, dapr just have a love affair with coming top 6. Maybe they can change things. Like, I think they've looked marginally better this tournament than they have so far, but I mean, look, we saw it with Leviathan, right, when they played Loud. Like, Loud have some sort of ability to make the other team collapse with a massive advantage, and it happened again right here. So once again, we get the rematch of OpTic versus Loud. We shall see how that played out here in a second, because first we've got to discuss how we got to that point. OpTic versus XSET. Great match, honestly. These two teams relatively closely matched, I think, at this point. XSET at this point were up 7-3. Marv finished off a nice round here to make it 4-7. OpTic eventually come back in this map and take the game 1 on the Haven. Like, yeah, it was a super close game, actually, but OpTic take game 1. XSET, though, they bounced back impressively in game 2. At this point, it was 10-10. This game was actually pretty ridiculous. Like, XSET had a massive advantage. OpTic managed to bring it all the way back. I think it was 9-3 at the half again. OpTic very quickly, it was 10-10. And then, like, Victor's making some 3Ks. Like, XSET, they were getting completely shut down. But fair play to XSET, because they managed to regain and win the last couple of rounds of this series, actually. Like, and win the last couple of rounds of the map to take this map 13-11. So it looked like, I mean, impressive stuff from XSET, because I think if that was dapr maybe in a similar situation, they probably would just have lost the map. But I mean, yeah, we saw BCJ the other day saying that, you know, he really believes that XSET have probably the best composure in the game. Like, he really does believe that their ability under pressure is very solid, and you know, maybe indeed that is the case here to a certain extent. The fact that they were almost going to get come back on, and they managed to turn up, and Crycel's wobble was officially activated, and they went to map 3. So I thought that was impressive from XSET. Unfortunately, that they didn't necessarily have quite the same resilience in the final map of the series, which proved to be critical on Pearl in controversial circumstances. So first of all, early on, OpTic had a nice advantage. It was 4-2 in their favor. XSET then won a few good rounds in a row. Now, don't get me wrong, the Pearl gameplay that we've seen from OpTic so far has been very good. I think that was a key talking point I had going into this event, really. Like, how good are the top teams going to be on Pearl? Because we've seen some teams don't really like it so much, but teams like OpTic seem to be, you know, pretty in favor of, you know, using Pearl to good effect here. And I mean, yeah, it was certainly working out. And Ye honestly just defies belief. This guy, like, especially because we're in a chamber meta right now, the amount of impact he has, like, he's not just well, click and shoot, obviously. Like, this guy does it all. Such good game sense and awareness. But OpTic go up 4-2 here. Then XSET bounced back a bit, win a few rounds in a row, and then there was a tech pause that comes through. So definitely interesting timing for it. OpTic had some sort of issues with their PC. The delay was quite significant. We were waiting quite a long time to get this one resolved, and XSET's momentum was effectively iced, right? Like, they, you know, they were looking good. They had a few rounds in a row. Then OpTic, you know, get the tech pause, kind of, well, a good time, let's say, for OpTic, and then, as it turns out, they win a few rounds in a row. OpTic eventually close out the game and win this one pretty comfortably in the end. So optic move on to top 3 again, which is so absurd. Like the last, what, 4 international tournaments, they've come top 3 at all 4. And of course, they can keep going further, right? They play Loud again next, a team that they've kind of had Loud's number lately. And Loud, I think, even said a few days ago, like, please don't make us play optic again. And turns out that's exactly what's going to happen here. And also, optic, it makes an interesting question. Just because they've had this good result, top 3 at minimum, that makes it sound like to me that these guys, if they can stay together, are almost certainly going to want to, right? At minimum, right? Whether they can do that on optic, whether they can do that on another team, whether Marv's able to play, those are the big talking points right now. But the key talking point after this match kind of concluded was from XSET, because of course the tech pauses on this occasion probably worked in optic's favor to kind of shift the momentum to a certain degree. Now XSET Valorant actually, like, well, they straight up accused optic here of using this deliberately and exploiting the rules in this sense to give them an advantage. Like, you know, Dephh actually went on to say, and also certainly their coach went on to say, that he believes it's, well, almost too convenient that, you know, these kind of tech pauses happen and there's, well, mysteriously an issue with their equipment right before, like, in a very crucial situation for optic to try and regain, and saying that he believes it's intentional, the coach did at least, and Dephh was kind of, well, he at least echoed a similar sentiment, that optic are exploiting this for a competitive advantage.
No, I think the only mind game that optic use are finding ways to tech pause during pretty big rounds or before big rounds. Seems like every time we play them guys, there's a tech pause. Obviously, like, a lot of the stuff is out of their hands and whatever, but after attack pauses and stuff and big round wins. So very unfortunate, but also pretty sucky for a team that's pretty momentum based and we want to get rolling, and every other round we have to wait for 30 minutes.
Yeah, that in particular is pretty frustrating. I think it's a gap in the rule set that needs to be addressed by Riot specifically, and I'll be having conversations with them about it after the fact. But it's no different when we play them online to when we play them here on the stage. It's, you know, tech pause when it's 12-11, tech pause after we get a win, tech pause after I call attack timeout and go on a 60-second spiel about what we're about to do. And you know, it's intentional, and in my eyes, it's an abuse of the rule set, and I think that it should be fixed.
Now, optic, of course, don't agree at all with this assessment, right? And at the end of the day, as Chet goes on to say, the coach of optic, like, look, that's not even possible because we can't just pause for a tech pause and not have anything wrong with our equipment. Like, Riot has to kind of, well, admit that we're actually, you know, this equipment, there's something wrong with it, it needs to be changed. So, as Chet says, what poor sportsmanship by XSET. We don't need to cheat to beat you guys, sorry. If our PC doesn't work, we will pause, and Riot wouldn't allow us to abuse it without seeing it themselves. So, I mean, yeah, as he kind of tweets out right here, these are the most recent matches they played against each other, apart from the grand finals of stage 2, I guess. Like, optic won everything else, right, between these two guys over the last several times they've played each other. So he's like, look, we don't need to, you know, we don't need to cheat to beat you guys. Definitely interesting though, right? Can XSET, like, possibly have a point here? I don't think in this instance, like, there's anything to what XSET are saying, but, you know, maybe in theory, there is a way to abuse this to a certain degree. I don't think it was happening here, but there might be a way to, you know, say, oh wow, my mouse just broke or something. Like, that's a shame. Like, you know, just after they won a round, just after they've taken a tactical timeout, because, you know, interesting, right? If someone takes a tac timeout, they've got all the ideas fresh in their mind. You take a tech pause for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then the momentum goes away to a certain extent. But of course, FNS went on to say, look, we don't need to cheat to win these guys or to beat these guys, right? We don't need to cheat to win this stuff. And of course, these were the words from Dephh that we saw, like kind of convenient in-game round pauses that we saw. And FNS went on to clarify here, it was an issue with Victor's computer. Victor's PC was glitching, like there were micro stutters on his monitor. Admins were trying to fix it, and then we had to go to the bathrooms. That's the whole thing. The only tech pauses we had were related to these stutters. And, you know, of course, Chet came out and saying exactly what it was. There was no intention to screw them over or anything. The PC was actually just not working well. I wouldn't allow that to happen in our games. You can ask the referee as well. As Victor says, I was playing through it. I was still stuttering and I was playing through it. We don't need to cheat to win, says optic. So, I mean, yeah, I just thought this is basically salt from the XSET side, to be perfectly honest. And even as Ye says, I'm a little sad that we're being accused of using technical pauses for an advantage. Had an admin confirming the issue and witnessing it firsthand. So, like, I mean, yeah, NA can move regions, but the drama remains the same. And even this from Dephh, right, he responds, and I think eventually they kind of made up to a certain extent, Dephh and FNS here, and he says, like, look, I've always been one to own up to my mistakes. This is no different. To react like that in a press conference after I lost to optic wasn't acceptable, and I take full responsibility of my actions. We should have addressed our concerns in the proper channels instead of venting into the nether after the game. Definitely a heat of the moment thing and something I regret. Optic played great. and deserve to win. I just want to make sure those involved don't feel slighted, and I believe actually even it was FNS responded, yes, as we move on, GG. So maybe resolved to some degree. Zelsis wants this drama to continue. Frankly, I think this drama needs to be settled in the octagon. But yeah, what do you guys think about this, right? Any validity to what XSET are saying? Like, because I think they might have a point in theory that this could be abused. I just don't think in this particular instance that it was actually a thing. And to effectively accuse OpTic of cheating in this sense was, you know, pretty outrageous, to be honest. Definitely tweet your thoughts in the comment section below, just to look then at how how it's all shaping up here in the Valorant Champions. So yes, here we go. Loud versus OpTic yet again. But today are the final 2 games before the break, before the final 4 shootouts. XSET versus FPX and DRX versus Fnatic. 2 fantastic games. I think I'm going to take FPX. I think their losers bracket run shall continue, even though XSET did have a great result up against them earlier in the tournament, I believe, when they beat them 2-1 in the group stages. This time I'm going to take FPX, and then DRX, I honestly, I'm convinced now that a top 6 curse is real, so I'm going to take Fnatic. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button, tell us your YouTube gods, it's a good video, and I was like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Valorant community. Thank you as always, take care, and I'll see you next time.